Oh yeah, that was when, I mean, Todd was already bad from the first meeting, but when that happened, he was like, this is how it's gonna be. It's like you haven't even started filming yet. You don't even you don't
And
even
now
know who's
you're
gonna
going to
be.
do even more shit I want. So this is
He turned up like it went way up. It was like, oh goodness, this is not gonna be good. And it wasn't. That show was not good for his already narcissistic character.
well, did he
Did,
call you to and say, hey, you better start doing, I want you to do this. I want you to look this way. I want you to, like, what happened?
He was always a stickler with looks, and that was a big thing for him. Like maybe you should lose some pounds. You need to, this, like when he went shopping, like this, size 4 is what you should be for your height. And he was always big on fashion and like looking good. So that was not because of the show. But when the show did come, he was big on, nobody better ask me, just turned into act like he was already a celebrity before it had even aired. He started to just, then the name dropping went crazy, and which he did live in a neighborhood with some celebrities because he, obviously had all this money. Um, but when the show happened, all of a sudden he knew this person on a personal level, that person, he was this famous person before it even started. So he always wanted this.
did he like, I mean, did they all want to be famous? Like, was Julie dying for this? Savannah, Chase, like, was it, or was it just Todd?
Yeah, so I remember driving with Julie, unfortunately, to a rehab to drop off Kyle. And we were driving to Memphis, and, she said this was before the show even aired. And she was just like, I just love living in luxury. I love the spa. I love getting my nails done. I love the finer things in life. Like that was what she was telling me. I'll never forget. And I was just listening that this is what I love. Like this is the life for me. So, and they kind of lived that life before the show because now we're finding out it was fraudulent money, but they kind of kept that spa, shopping spree, all the things she listed that she loved to do. Those are one of her like hobbies. Everything that was like crazy expensive that normal people, don't do on a regular basis.
Oh,
Wow.
what did you think that Todd did? I mean, because I guess even now I'm thinking back, all right, was he in real estate? They had multiple homes. They moved to different. Okay, what did you think Todd did? Or what did he say he did?
Yeah, I never really understood personally.
Yeah.
That was the big thing, right? So Kyle never told me anything about, how wealthy they were. So that was the big thing. And if you see Kyle, he's like a regular Southern man. You're not thinking much of it. And he lived with Nanny in the beginning. And he told me he was just helping out with his grandma because at the time Nanny was taking care of Catherine. So it looked like a legit story, like a nice guy living with his grandma, taking care of her because the father's busy with 3 young kids, raising them with his wife, right? So Kyle acted as that. That's how I met Kyle. And everybody, like even through our friends, he was always just seeing nobody knew about this big wealthy person. So when we went to his dad's house for Easter, I'm like, wait a minute. What this was the first time he ever meeting Todd. Because Nanny's house is a regular, nice neighborhood home, just a regular home. That's when I knew these people are crazy loaded. There's something, they've got to be doing something right. Then when I started to ask Kyle, he said he's in real estate. So when people say real estate, that's vague. And I know he
Yes.
had this big real estate company that got, oh, that was another red flag. It got shut down. I was like, well, what happened to it? Oh, he went out of business because of he lost the Fannie Mae contract. That was the story. I'm like, well, then how are you guys still affording it if you lost a contract, right? And I guess he had saved the money from all this big business that I heard about. And he showed me where it was in Buckhead. It's a very nice, like one of the top buildings, I would say, in Atlanta. So the fact that it was shut down and he didn't work anymore, there was no real reason on what they did. So they just kind of sat home when I met them.
How did you get involved? Like, I know, I mean, okay, now we ended with jail for both of them, but like, I know you were involved way back with like not even the feds, but like the Georgia Department of Revenue. Like they came to you to aid with that investigation, and which is much smaller than the feds. But like, how does that come about? Like when they say that to you and you're dating Kyle, were you like, oh, of course, because I had all these, things, or were you just totally shocked? And how'd you get involved with that?
Yeah, so we were already married. We weren't dating. So the feds, like the Georgia department didn't come till later, like maybe 2015, 2016. And at first it was just questions. It actually started with a reporter, so like you guys, but a reporter for like, I think she was like with 11 Alive or something. And she had been in contact with the DOR. And she was just like, they're being, investigated, and I'm doing a story, and I would love to have you and Kyle come down to the studio. So here we are at 11 Live Studio, and they said we have a few questions, which you saw, and it was stuff that was like, your father's being investigated, and you want to cooperate, right? Because you don't want to hear anything. When you hear that, you're going to cooperate. I mean, only a fool is going to say a lie or just say no. I mean, I guess you could say no, but at this time we weren't even on good terms with him. He had been telling everyone he was making all these millions. The tweets, as you saw with me, he was cursing us out. And, we were nobodies. Kyle was bipolar. Kyle was, he's no longer going to be on the show because of blah, 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 really because he married me. That's why he couldn't be on the show. It was just on and on and on about how great he was doing. So when you hear this, it was a nice aha moment. So of course you want to learn more because you're like, well, we knew something wasn't right because he was already filed bankruptcy. It got discharged, but it's like, doesn't just go away that quickly. So we kind of knew we needed to dig deeper just to kind of figure out where in this investigation are they really? And that's when we found out how bad it was a little bit.
Oh my God, 2015. So basically after you meet with the Department of Revenue, Georgia Department of Revenue, and Channel 11, you do this. So, I mean, did you and Kyle go home and you're like, holy shit. I mean, what were they saying? Were they saying like Todd owes $8 million? We believe Todd might be, manipulating his tax returns or to get more money from the bank? Like, did they really give you a sense of, oh, this is really bad?
They didn't say much, right? Because they're trained to be very discreet, right? So they try to get as much out of you. So all you know is what you can gather from why are they asking these questions? Like, where did you live? What state did you get your license in? Where did you spend the majority of your time? Where did your dad live? How many homes do you guys own? Do you remember visiting here? For how long? So you don't know what they're getting at, but it's got to be evasion. It's got to be, then that's when the warehouse came into play, which is a whole nother saga where they found all this stuff, a lot of the documents which came into the IRS case. So they just were questioning. It was like, and it was subpoenaed. We were subpoenaed, both me and Kyle.
All right. Well, that's when shit's heavy. Getting subpoenaed for the feds okay, shit's real. I mean, they're busy. They ain't doing that for fun. I mean, okay, when Todd's living the lap of luxury, how materialistic was he? I mean, we see he's very extravagant on the show. I mean, did you guys benefit at all? Were they sending you cars? Were they sending you gifts? Or was it really all about Todd and Julie and the kids that live with them? And they were, how materialistic was he?
He's very, very materialistic. But he did have a small sense of generosity.